What would you do if the one person you built your entire world around was secretly planning to burn it all down? I found out on a Tuesday, not from a confession, but from the cold, hard words in a leather-bound journal hidden in the back of her closet. The air in our Chicago brownstone turned thin, the city lights outside our window suddenly feeling like distant mocking stars. Her handwriting, usually a graceful looping script, looked like jagged little daggers on the page, each one aimed directly at my heart. The hook wasn't just that she was cheating. It was the clinical, detached way she described her plan to leave me, take everything, and start a new life with him. The last line I read that night before snapping the book shut was, "He thinks my heart is his. But it's just a placeholder, until the accounts are clear." If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, I thought Sarah was my everything. We met in our final year at Northwestern, two ambitious kids ready to take on the world. I went into architecture, she into finance. We were the power couple, the ones our friends envied. Our life was a carefully curated collection of successes, the beautiful home on a tree-lined street in Lincoln Park, the European vacations, the dinner parties where the wine flowed as freely as the laughter. I loved her. God, I loved her with a loyalty so fierce it felt like a physical part of me. I thought she felt the same, but her journal told a different story. It spoke of a woman I didn't recognize, one who saw our marriage not as a partnership, but as a long-term investment. She was ready to cash out. The strange behavior started subtly. Late nights at the office became more frequent. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, was now perpetually glued to her hand, screen down. When I'd walk into a room, she'd end calls with a clipped, "I'll call you back." She became cold, distant. The easy intimacy we shared evaporated, replaced by a polite, sterile courtesy that felt more like a business arrangement. She was manipulative, twisting my concerns into accusations. "Why are you so insecure, Mark?" she'd asked, her voice dripping with manufactured disappointment. "Don't you trust me?" She and her affair partner, a smug portfolio manager from her firm named Julian, felt untouchable. I saw them once, having lunch downtown at a cafe on Michigan Avenue. They were laughing, her hand on his arm, a picture of casual intimacy that felt like a punch to the gut. They didn't see me. I was just another face in the crowd, a ghost haunting the edges of my own life. The breaking point came a month after I found the journal. I came home early, hoping to surprise her, and found a credit card statement on the hall table. A charge for a 2-night stay at the Waldorf Astoria, a hotel just a few miles from our house. A dinner for two at a Michelin-star restaurant I'd wanted to take her to for our anniversary. The pieces clicked into place with a sickening finality. I walked into our bedroom, the statement clutched in my hand, and just broke. The grief was a physical force, a wave that knocked the air from my lungs and sent me to my knees.
Hello.
The man who designed skyscrapers felt like he couldn't even stand. In that moment, the loyal, loving husband died, and someone else. Someone colder and more strategic began to take his place. My grief hardened into a quiet, ruthless resolve. Sarah wanted a war. I would give her one, but it would be fought on my terms. I became an actor in my own home, playing the part of the oblivious, slightly pathetic husband she believed me to be. Meanwhile, I was gathering my arsenal. I hired the best private investigator in Chicago, a grizzled ex-cop who knew the city's secrets. He got me everything. Photos of Sarah and Julian entering the hotel, copies of their romantic texts, even audio of them discussing their plan to handle me in my prenup. I opened a new bank account and began methodically moving my personal assets. I met with a shark of a divorce attorney, a woman whose reputation was legendary. We laid out the trap, piece by piece, a legal and social masterpiece of destruction. The day of reckoning was Sarah's 35th birthday. She'd planned a huge party at a chic rooftop bar overlooking the city, a celebration of her success filled with her colleagues, our friends, and even her parents. She stood in the center of it all, radiant and arrogant, Julian hovering nearby like a loyal prince. She thought this was her coronation. She had no idea it was her execution. At the peak of the party, as she was about to give a toast, the large screens behind the bar, which were supposed to be showing a photo montage of her life, flickered. And then my evidence appeared. Crystal clear photos of her and Julian kissing in a hotel lobby. Text messages detailing her contempt for me and her plans to fleece me. The final image was a bank statement showing a massive transfer from our joint account to Julian's name. Dated that very morning. The silence on that rooftop was absolute. Every eye was on Sarah, her face a mask of horror. Her boss was there. Her parents were there. Julian's wife, whom my lawyer had personally invited, was there. It was a complete and utter public demolition. The fallout was immediate. She was fired the next day for ethics violations. Julian was fired too, and his wife filed for divorce, using my evidence. Our friends, seeing the raw, undeniable proof of her betrayal, sided with me. The divorce was a formality. With the evidence I had, the prenup held, and she walked away with nothing but the clothes on her back and the shame of what she'd had done. She was ruined. A social and financial pariah in the city she thought she owned. I sold the brownstone. I left Chicago and moved to a quiet town on the coast, a place where the ocean could wash away the memories. I still design buildings, but they're smaller now, more thoughtful. The life I have is quiet. The nights are long. Sometimes I look out at the dark water and think of her. I don't feel anger anymore, not really. Just a cold, hollow emptiness, where a decade of my life used to be. She built her world on lies, and I was the one who had to tear it all down. The end.